So if you're driving the car in normal mode, it feels like a regular car. But if you put it in sport mode, it transforms into something else. That's This is the Kia Forte GT, and this is not your regular Kia. Not too long ago, when you heard the word Kia, you thought cheap, practical, and also boring. But Kia overhauled their image over the years. They made some of their models, like the Kia Carnival, more upmarket. They introduced a new design language. And then back in 2018, they released their halo car, the Kia Stinger. And I think it elevated Kia's image in the eyes of automotive enthusiasts. It got positive reviews, and even Doug DeMuro bought one. While everyone's eyes were on the Stinger, Kia also quietly released a more affordable 4-door sports sedan. This is the Kia Forte GT, and I think it might be the most fun car that you can buy for 1.6 million pesos. In this video, we'll do a very thorough review of the Kia Forte GT. Let's start with the exterior. So compared to the Civic RS Turbo, which looks very angular and aggressive, this looks a lot more subtle. The lines are not as jagged, and it looks more rounded overall. That's not saying that it looks boring though. It still looks like a proper sports sedan. Here at the front you get these very attractive looking LED headlights. So it gets Kia's signature Tiger nose grille. So you get sporty touches like this front splitter. The Kia Forte GT comes with 17-inch wheels. So the Kia Forte GT gets this side skirt. It's the same height as the regular Kia Fortes, the EX and the LX, but it looks lower because of the side skirts. It has a smart locking system. As long as you have the key fob with you, you can lock or unlock the doors by pressing this button. So let me show you the back. So the Kia Forte GT has this ducktail spoiler. It's painted in gloss black. That's something that you don't get on the EX and LX variants. And one more thing that you get on the GT that you don't get on the LX and the EX is this diffuser. Let me show you the trunk. So the Kia Forte GT has this much luggage space. It's one of the biggest in its class. The Kia Forte looks relatively subtle, but it looks special enough to catch people's attention. Also, because it's so rare on our roads, it does turn a few heads. By the way, if you only care about the looks and don't care so much about the performance, the Kia Forte also comes in two lesser variants. There's the EX and the LX. So instead of the turbocharged 1.6 of the Kia Forte GT, the EX and the LX only come with a naturally aspirated 1.6. And they sell for about 1 million pesos. Just about the same as a top-of-the-line Vios. The EX looks very similar to the GT, minus a few touches like the side skirts, the wing, the leather seats, etc. And of course, it's not as powerful. Show you the engine.
Let me show you the engine. So this right here is a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. It produces 204 horsepower, which would make it the most powerful sedan in its class. It's made into a 7-speed DCT transmission.
The interior of the car looks quite premium. You get the illusion that you have a lot of high quality materials here. This is aluminum, and it feels like real aluminum. The dashboard looks like it's leather wrapped, but it's actually soft plastic. So the steering wheel is leather wrapped. It also has a flat bottom, and you have aluminum. You have this aluminum accent on it with GT badging. You get red stitching on it, and you get the same red stitching all over the interior. The seats are leather wrapped. The driver's seat is power adjustable. The passenger seat is manually adjustable. Over here you have USB ports, a 12-volt outlet, and an aux jack. So in terms of amenities, you have dual zone climate control. You have this 9-inch screen. It has Apple CarPlay, it has Android Auto, and it also has a reverse camera. It has active guidelines. As you can see, the lines move when I move the wheel. It has reverse sensors, it has front sensors. So over here is your button for selecting the drive modes. You can select Comfort, Eco, and Smart. To put it in Sport mode though, you'll have to do this. And now we're in Sport mode. And thankfully you get a manual handbrake. Now while I don't mind electronic parking brakes on crossovers, I think for a sports sedan this is very important. The center armrest is not leather wrapped, but it is padded. Underneath you have plenty of storage, and you also have one more USB port. You have two sizable cup holders here. Okay, so I'm at the back seat now. Legroom is pretty good. I have about 4 or 5 inches of legroom. Headroom is about this much. That's, I'm guessing, 2 inches. Over here you have 2 air vents. There are no fan controls, but you can control the airflow using this. Okay, you get a center armrest with 2 cup holders. So if you're driving the car in normal mode, it feels like a regular car. But if you put it in sport mode, it transforms into something else. The exhaust note gets louder. You hear burbles. The throttle response gets sharper, and the steering gets heavier. So the Kia Forte GT has a different suspension compared to the EX and LX models. The Forte GT has a multi-link independent rear suspension. It's also stiffer compared to the suspension of the EX and the LX. I'll just wait for... That's... Wheel spin! Oh crap. This is why I went here. So aside from the power, I love the steering of the car. It reminds me of my E90. It feels quite heavy. Shifting through the paddle shifters is pretty quick. Click, shift, click, shift. It's about less than a second. Overtake, clear. Not yet. Later. This is what I went here for. Okay, so we're now going down from Antipolo. This is now my third day with the car, and so far I love it. If I had to nitpick, one is the fact that there's no dedicated manual mode. By that I mean you can shift, you can put it in sport mode and shift using the paddle shifters, but it automatically upshifts when it reaches the red line. Another thing is that there is no sport mode button. By that I mean if you want to go into sport mode, you'd have to put the transmission in this position, and if you're in this position you can't rev in neutral. There's a bit of torque steer, but I think it adds a bit of excitement to the driving experience. What else? I wish it came with 18-inch wheels, and so far that's it. I think the car is perfect for the price. As for the things that I love about the car, of course, the power. You can't buy a car with this much power at this price. 204 horsepower. I love the transmission. It shifts pretty quickly. I love the steering. The ratio is pretty quick, and you get a lot of feedback. And also, it's pretty fuel efficient. So from Quezon City to Antipolo, that's more than 2/3 uphill, and with traffic like this, I got 9.3 kpl. It's not bad. So the closest competitor of the Kia Forte GT is the Civic RS Turbo, and this is a much better car overall compared to the Civic RS Turbo. It has more power. It has a much nicer sounding exhaust, and most importantly, it has a better transmission. The Civic RS Turbo comes with a CVT. Now, while CVTs are okay for econo cars, it's not the most ideal transmission for this application. So the Kia Forte GT has a dual clutch transmission. So that's basically that's like a manual transmission that's automated. You have two clutches. So The result of that is that your shifts are faster, number one.
Turn right.
Number two, it feels more direct. Unlike a CVT, which feels rubber bandy, like if you step on the gas, there's a buffer between the engine and the wheels. So on this car, it feels like there's a more direct connection between the engine and the transmission and the wheels. So it's like you're driving a manual, especially when you're in lower gears. And by that I mean it's quite jerky if you're not smooth when it comes to throttle input. So the only advantage of this Civic RS Turbo would be the looks, I would say. I think the Civic RS Turbo looks a bit more aggressive, but it's also more common. This is something that you don't see very often, and this has turned a couple of hits. Okay, I had the Kia Forte GT for 4 days, and in those 4 days I was absolutely impressed with the car. You can drive the car normally, but it does beg to be driven like it should. And when you give into it, it puts a smile to your face. It's a fun car, but it's also very practical. It has 4 doors, it can seat 5 people, and it has a spacious trunk. So it's not a hard sell to the missus, if you have one. At 1.6 million pesos, the car feels like a steal. It's just a shame that not a lot of people know about it. There are a lot of Civic RS Turbos, but I haven't seen a single Kia Forte GT on our streets. If you want to go fast, and you don't have 2 million pesos to spend on a Subaru WRX or a GT86, this is the best car that you can buy here in the Philippines.